This is a 1110 born again on the Noriega, Contras, and CIA affairs. Criminal betrayal. That's the title of this one. Noriega, Contras, and CIA affairs. This is about government criminal behavior, and it's reflective of the government acting contrary to the will of the people. There's nobody's responsibility other than the people to deal with a rogue government. The rogue government is the Rouge government, as in the Moulin Rouge, as in the old New Orleans red light district Moulin Rouge, right? Red House, we talking Republican Party, the elephant, symbol of the matriarchy. To Noble Drew Ali to remember, the elephant is our friend, but nobody trusts a jackass because they're going to do some foolish stuff that's going to cause problems for other than itself. And sometimes it does this to its own detriment. And so we heard about Iran-Contra. We know that it was about Contras in Nicaragua going to war with a government being backed by strongman Manuel Noriega and a bid to establish a governmental coup to overthrow the Nicaragua regime that was belligerent and oppressive to the people, the same as the government of America is belligerent and oppressive to the people. Now, remember, the Iran-Contra affair, the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, and a couple of the Joint Chiefs of Staff all got caught red-handed. That's the red hand over the native mouth of the indigenous woman that represent the ones with the dirty hand that tried to silence the mouth of the organic Aboriginal women of the land. The tribes remind us by painting over their mouth the hand that is the dirty hand. The blood is on the hand of the one who covered the mouth of the tribal mothers. And when they suffocated the voice of the matriarchy, they left a trail of tears in their wake. And in the trail of tears, they rolled out the dolls. Let that sink in. They rolled out the dolls, as in Dominique dolls, the gymnasts, because they was flipping us out and flipping somebody else in, using paperwork as a means of altering the identification of the tribes of the land, the clans, the cliques, the families, the gangs, the outlaws. And so the codes come in pop culture for the ones that know the tribal traditions to read the culture. point out the significant event to the clans, then they remember, oh snap, it's the Treaty of the Hat. Why we didn't know that it was the Treaty of the Hat in the Secret Society reenactment of the KKK versus the Omegas. The Omega is the Great Mother, and the symbol for Omega looks like an upside down horseshoe, but what it really is an open womb, because the mother is bearing a child called an alpha. So the alpha comes forth and proceeds from the Omega. That means the end was already present before the beginning was born. And this is how you got the alpha male from the Omega mother. Because the self-created God is a metaphor for the God that was created by the Great Mother without the aid of a man, as told in the holy drama, the part about the prince, Heru, who's rising to power to confront his uncle, Set. That's Lord Set. Set, E-N, is Lord in the ancient tongue of the Middle East. So Set-N, or Satan, is Lord Set, the rogue uncle, which is the rouge uncle, which is the red uncle. And Noble Drew Ali said, your uncle will sell you into slavery, but your daddy won't. He said, remember, the elephant is our friend. That's the matriarch. Then across town, they setting up the shrine of the Black Madonna. Right? This became one of the most preeminent purveyors of information in the community that we never talked about. They have a branch in Detroit, and I think they got another one somewhere in Texas, in Houston or Dallas. Right? So, when they showing us the story in the theatrical performance of the hip-hop culture, pay attention when they say they not like us, they not like us. Remember DMX say they don't know who we be. But just because they don't know who we be, don't mean we don't know who we be. So the rhetorical directive, meaning the BS to feed us, is to tell us we from an alternate destination from the point of our origination in order to create a separation between the ones who belong here and the ones who came to replace them. So when the artist is telling you it's playing out in politics and world affairs as the invading Israeli force genetically annihilating the people that was already on the land before 1945. We got to remember the Mossad created Hamas. The CIA created ISIS under the directive of Barack Obama. Why are they doing this? They creating their own opposition in order to remind you of what they did when they came over here. Good cop, worse cop. Right? Then they play this game of grand deception to have us believing that things are other than what they actually are, and the public fall for it because they good actors, life jackers, sticking babies in the state pen so they can get raped and turned out by some grown-ass men. The wrong that they in deserves hell's full fury, black mass execution without a jury. So, Manuel Noriega was the head of state. Remember this, because when they go into Israel, they gonna cry foul. But they done it to Noriega. There's no way that they would have came over here and got, at the time, I think it was George Herbert Walker Bush, for his criminal activities in collusion with the same person that he authorized the military to go get. Then he end up in Europe and they go through this long extradition thing. But what they don't tell you is this. Manuel Noriega was an ally to the United States, and Bush, as the former director of the CIA, had already slid up under them in the 70s to finance them to come to power, because they was trying to prevent a repeat of the Cuban Revolution. They all told us this, but we wasn't paying attention, and now I pointed out, you can go back and review it. The government is not supposed to engage in criminal activities. They're not supposed to run a criminal enterprise solely for the purpose of trapping the individual up in the criminal enterprise. But this is exactly what they done under COINTELPRO. Noriega's co-defendants was George Herbert Walker Bush, Ronald Wilson Reagan, Oliver North, and I forget, there was another guy. He had a goofy name like Doofendiger or something. But they was all co-defendants. Now watch this for honor among thieves. When the Iran-Contra blew up out of LA behind the Ricky Ross investigation, right? Because the government was running the criminal enterprise, because Ricky Ross was also these niggas' co-defendant. A lot of y'all don't know this, because they wasn't tried at the same time in the same venue, in the same court. Noriega was tried in absentia while he was running from the military assassination squads who would rather have executed him than brought him in to stand trial. Noriega trial was sealed for a long time. I don't even know if it's been released, because it came out in his trial that he was working in concert with George Herbert Walker Bush, Ronald Wilson Reagan, Oliver North, the DEA, and Central Intelligence, and the guns for hostages Iran portion of the Iran-Contra scandal. So while they doing this is supposed to be the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, but they doing everything to put people in peril. If the things that this government was doing to other countries, if other countries attempted to do the same thing back to this country, this government that's actually a corporation masquerading as a government would have blew their ass off the map. They didn't want individuals to become self-sufficient, especially the original tribes of the lands wherever we were. Whether we was in Jamaica, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Croix, Haiti, Dominica, they turned us against each other with infiltrators that look like us, that's not us. They slide in because they speak the language of the side they infiltrating, but they operating with the same mission directive as the infiltrator speaking the language of the other side that they infiltrating. We was unaware at the earliest stages of this that when we kept failing at all of our efforts to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, that it was some people that look like us that keep stealing our goddamn boots and pointing to somebody that don't look like us, screaming thief. And they the ones told the people that don't look like us to stand right here and I'll be right back. So when we all come out, they concealing our boots in their duffel bag, but they pointing to the pale face they got standing at the post on the corner screaming, "Stop thief." So now we all mad at the wrong MFs. We mad at the wrong people. Look, if you go back to Denmark Vesey, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. If you go to Gabriel Prosser, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. If you go and read the story of Nat Turner, fictional or not, in the story of Nat Turner, he was told on by somebody that looked like us. Prince Hall was working as an apprentice to a traveling man. What that means in layman's terms is his boss was a Freemason. And as an apprentice, he began to observe, this my shit. Why is this motherfucker doing my shit and using it against me? So he said, okay, tit for tat. You knocked me, motherfucker. I'm going to knock you back. Now remember, Prince Hall is establishing the Blue Lodge fraternal brotherhood in the community of people that look like us. So he go to get a charter, and we thought that the people he went to get the charter from that was hiding in Philadelphia and that was hiding in New Jersey that turned him down, we thought that they was pale faces. But we discovered when Noble Drew Ali come around that they wasn't pale faces. So what did Prince Hall do? Prince Hall traveled to London and got a charter from the Scottish Rite, which is the Red House, Freemasonic Lodge, to authorize him, because there was no Blue Lodge elders ranked high enough to give him the charter to practice under the Freemasonic protection over here, that was willing to give him a chance to build a brotherhood amongst us on the land. They didn't want that to happen. And this is why it's a stark difference in when the minister give the story of Hiram Abiff, he tell the pale-faced Shriners and Masons about their secret. But then he say to you so-called black Masons, this ain't got nothing to do with you because you ain't got no secret to keep. The secret that was the bloody oath of the papacy, which was the 200-year George Washington conjure, which was the agreement between Semyaza and the so-called fallen ones. It's all the same fucking agreement. replayed in cycle after cycle after cycle until one of us figure it out that they keep playing the same game on us, in our face, making fun and mockery of us while they're running this game on us with all the players playing the game out openly as if they live in their life. So Noble Drew Ali said, I put all of the secret society's secrets into the public domain. The niggas that betrayed him, that was his mufti staff, looked like us. That let the police, they fed him to the police because there was no resistance when they came to get him. Knowing how militant they were in that era, we don't understand it because we in a different era. That if the police would have came and got Noble Drew Ali and he was not infiltrated, it would have been war in the streets. Period. The police was not the police you see today. They was more closer to a band of rogue KKK riders on the plantations of the South than they was with this well-organized machine that takes in all ethnic groups. It was not the same. So when Noble Drew Ali was being stalked, he was being stalked by some people called Moorish Zionist Jews. We call them dirty Moors. And we know the difference between the dirty Moors and the righteous Moors. People believe because I have no mercy for the dirty Moors, that means I don't got no love for the righteous Moors, and nothing can be further from the truth. The Contra War required a catch turn for two different groups of people that looked similar, but they was from different stocks. They was from different backgrounds. The only way you gonna know them from us is they will sell their mama, we'll hurt you about ours. And they will sell their children, and we'll kill you about ours. Them is the easiest tests to determine the difference between them and us. They understanding the loyalty is not what our understanding of loyalty is. They think that you being disloyal if you don't tolerate they bullshit. If you don't tolerate they backbiting, they gaslighting, then you the enemy. That's not the enemy. The one that's doing the dirt, that's trying to play innocent victim while they doing the dirt. While you trying to be straight up across the board with people, they trying to swerve you, and then they think because you being kind to them that they actually found a sucker. Never knowing that they was the ones being baited in the whole time for trying to take your kindness for weakness. So, you don't tell everybody everything you know because it puts you at a disadvantage. If you want to win, you got to use strategic silence so that your silence can elicit more information than you have to tell a motherfucker something. This was wrong with relationships. The sisters think that because they've been taught this by the enemy's women, that you always got to tell a motherfucker something. You ain't got to tell a motherfucker shit. You don't owe a motherfucker a description an explanation, an analysis, a correction. You don't owe nobody none of that. But you volunteer and give it under the pretense of, I got to tell a motherfucker something. You always need people to know what you thinking. Therefore, you can't figure out why you can't advance. They know the type of person you is. They don't say loose lips sink ships just because it sounds slick. It's not just a catchy phrase. Look, this is one of the reasons I hate social media so bad. The information that I'm giving up, I don't mind giving it up to the people that want it. It's the people that don't want it, don't respect it, and can't understand it. It's above their pay grade. It's above their disciplinary study level. And they want to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. They want me to keep giving them retarded references of secret society brotherhood after sorry reference of secret society brotherhood without ever acknowledging them niggas is all part of the brotherhood. I'm not supposed to acknowledge that and just continuously push these people references as if this is the actual facts, when all the time they telling you, these same people, history is a lie agreed upon. Who agreed on this shit? I didn't write that shit. Right? History is written by the victors who won. And what story do the victors tell to keep the ones they conquered from ever rising up, overthrowing their conqueror? They got to make them feel party to the cause. They got to make them feel patriotic. I'm not patriotic. I'm matriotic. I'm mama's boy. But I'm still my daddy's son. You got to make sure you understand that. Because just because I'm my mama's boy don't mean that I won't bounce your ass like a grown-ass man supposed to if you need to be bounced. It's not personal. I don't go out looking for bullshit. But when they bring the bullshit to Big Mama house, I'm going to be the worst one to correct it, but I might not be the first one. I'm going to be the worst one. Because whatever I decide, I'm coming in on 10. And the reason I'm coming in on 10, because they only going to call me when they done exhausted 1 through 9 already. And my birthday is 11/10. And this video started at 11/10. You do the math. Speak the truth, shame the devil, and awaken the masses. Y'all got to be able to shake free the paralysis of analysis, as Ray Haggins says. Shake from the slumber of King Goo, as Malachi wrote about. Rise up from under the 200-year challenge of George Washington, knowing exactly what side of the water you belong. Don't be offended by the ones who say they belong on the other side, because they might be right. But you don't let them tell you where you belong when you know where you belong. It's always methods to the madness, but some people get so caught up in the madness that they overlook the method, therefore they can't follow the process, and then they end up processed. The play on words and the witty wordplay is how they've been playing on our intelligence the whole time, with they legalese and double speak in the political arena. They talking 2 different languages and they laughing at you because you only talk one. But then when we started talking Ebonics, they slammed an alarm and went into an all-out frenzy to try to teach people in the educational system how to translate Ebonics so the slave master will know if we plotting this overthrow or not. We was plotting, motherfucker, and you overthrew now. We was plotting with Ebonics and the Swahili and the Nuwapu and the banger's tongue, what they call your click lingo. We was plotting. Y'all lost. We won. Big Mama Boys is ready. Big Mama's girls is ready. We all want to put our foot in somebody's ass, so we starting to get impatient now. And we done been being excessively patient for an extended period of time, trying to put this new world in its proper order. Because we not finna go up under the cabal. We not finna be part of none of them bullshit shenanigans that they want to run on the regular people to usurp their freedoms and their liberty as a sovereign being to walk the earth. We gonna retain our sovereign status by surrendering our nationality. We gonna retain our sovereign status by surrendering our nationality. And all of them slave catchers is trying to convince you to get the nationality. Ask them who is superior, the sovereign or the national. Soon as he tell you the national is superior, you know he a slave catcher. He might not even know he's slave catcher. That's the sad part. But remember, they look like us. They not us. They hide behind pale faces to block us out the institutions. So Big Mama invited a bunch of friendly pale faces to kick the doors of the institutions and to roll the information out into the public domain, so we don't ever have to go into their institutions to get it. All we got to do is be willing and able to do what's required as our portion of the family business, because all parts of the family is doing their parts of the family business according to their skill set, their knowledge base, and their performance ability. Everybody's going to be successful because ain't nobody going to take up something that they not versed enough in to come out victorious. And we all working together even though we working separate. We can't all do the same thing at the same time and try to get a result when you got an enemy that's watching you at every turn. You got to have different people take on the problem from a different perspective, and the person that can tie all of the perspectives together get to read the picture to the people and tell you exactly what it say. And at this point, after Mother's Day, it's all over. It's all over. Now, how they gonna roll it out, what it's gonna look like, I can't tell you the details. I'm just showing you the connected dot pictures before the crayons even get on the page. Crayons ain't even on the page, so you ain't got no color to this connected dots. I just connected all of the dots. So you looking at a silhouette in black and white. You ain't looking at a full color picture or what we call a 3D play out. But once you know what the black and white picture look like, the 3D layout doesn't alarm you anymore because you say, oh yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. It got to happen that way. Right? Storms and earthquakes, floods in diverse places. All the timekeepers watching the stellar events. The almanac writers know from the stellar events what the weather pattern is. With no modern AI intelligence, they've been doing almanacs for thousands of years in the temples, in the pyramid temple priesthoods, in the Vatican temple priesthoods. So if you go get an old almanac and it tell you that it's going to rain on December 31st at 2:15, the only thing that could be altered in that almanac when it comes time to rain is it could get a little bit colder and turn into snow or sleet. But they already can tell from the stellar events and the magnetic movement of the major planets how it affects the weather patterns on the earth. This is where they even came up with an idea of creating weather manipulation. The whole purpose of weather manipulation ain't what people think it is. It's to confuse you about time. They want to confuse you about time. All time is you have to have spacers in order to map out a procession. The spacers tell you where the steps go. Just like they teach the $5 Indians how to do Crip walk by numbers, but the Crips know how to do it by feeling. They not going to look the same. They not going to move the same. Because it's in somebody's DNA, and then the other people, it's just in their memory from being rote knowledge. It ain't what they soul know. But that second line stutter step, you can't just do that. It look easy until you start trying to do that shit and you realize only way somebody do this is they got to have it in their blood because they learning it too early for it to only be taught to them by step. You got 2 and 3 year olds on the second line with their feathers on, strutting down the street and following that pattern, that dance step that comes from their soul. Right in step with the old lady. The 2-year-old and the old lady that's 80-something years old, both doing this second line stutter step the same. And this not in your soul. They don't even know each other. But when they break out with that Mardi Gras music and they start strutting up that street to remind us of the great procession, which is the procession of the matriarchy. But we don't know this because we don't know our history, where we used to all dress up for the celebrations. They got y'all thinking that every day we walked around with feathers in our head, like some goddamn goofies. They don't even know that shit ceremonial garb. Man, we was wearing denim. Cotton-made cloth for clothes. We was wearing clothes made out of leather and animal pelts. We wasn't running around with no goddamn feathers on a day-to-day basis. That's ceremonial dress. Nobody wore that shit every day. But they had you believing we lived in teepees too. That's the same as you catching some niggas camping saying that you caught them living in the tent. We was on our way to the Gullah Wars. We had to have the tents to set up camp on route. We didn't allow the land to be spoiled by the devices of man over here like it is now. So they came over here and they did their thing. Yeah, we did. We used hemp to make fabric as well. We use hemp for so much shit, they said we got to ban this or we ain't going to never sell no plastic. Look, you can make a quality plastic out of hemp that's biodegradable and friendly to the environment, and it looks just like the plastic that they make from DuPont. It's just as sturdy and durable. The only thing is it don't take 275 years for it to break down and decay. Yeah, we was in the... Look, Our craftsmen believed in quality above all other things, and that's called putting your pride in your work, right? So everything we did, we took care to do it correctly and to do it as best as the skill set that we have developed will allow every time. And we know that every time we perform the task, we're going to get better because practice makes perfect. You can't never attain perfection without the practice required to hone in the faculty, the skill, right? Some people with talent, but talent can only take you so far if you don't develop the skill to accentuate it. No, I won't be there. My finances was not. I hadn't recovered from my Florida trip financially to take the trip to Philly, so I won't be able to make it. Yeah, perfect practice makes perfect performance. Yeah, in my literature, we got something known as the 5 P's. Preparation prevents poor performance, right? This is something that we use as a guideline to the endeavors that we are about to engage in. If you understand what properly preparing for something, it looked like a miracle when you manifest what you prepared yourself to perform to perfection. The proper preparation of a thing is preventative of poor performance, right? But it's the same way that proper preparation prevents the poor performance. Perfect performance is performed from proper preparation. It's a two-way street. It's just like Moore's got a saying, man finds himself where he solves his problems best. I said, that sounds almost right. But I think it's man solves his problems best where he finds himself. Because only once you discover the self will you be qualified to be your best version of problem solver. People want a successful life, but if it comes to them putting a plan together, they fall apart. Think about that. You want success, but when it comes time to put a plan together, you fall apart. That means you plan to fail because the plan to fail is the failure to plan. It's almost guaranteed. And the work don't always have to be hard, Kalikai. The work can be consistent. And you can make what was a hard job yesterday an easier job today once you can perform it better. Almost everything you do, when the first time you do it, is difficult. But the more you do it, it becomes more manageable and you become more effective in getting it done. So, Manuel Noriega, he the head of state. The Geneva Convention prohibits the capture of a head of state because they are the ones that's supposed to negotiate the conclusion to the military conflict we call war. When Ronald Reagan, Oliver North, and George Bush got caught, by this time, the CIA had already started Ronald Reagan on his Alzheimer's inducing medications to suppress his memory. See, and then they forced his wife to give him that shit because they told her if he start to run his mouth, then the next time the assassin won't miss. So Nancy got to keep Ronnie sedated. George Bush assumed the responsibilities of the president in Ronald Reagan's second term, go almost about a year into the term. By this point, Ronnie don't know his asshole from his appetite. And so they get knocked on the Iran-Contra. And instead of them being captured by the JAG and taken into the military tribunals for using government office to sell firearms to the known enemy, which is in violation of the Trading with the Enemies Act. Now, you got to go back, you can look it up on YouTube and review the Iran-Contra hearings that they was having. It's going to blow your mind that the highest officials of government on the land at the time is trading military munitions to the enemy that allegedly held Americans hostage during the Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan debate period of the election, the campaign. Why ain't nobody campaigning now? I seen Brother Collide ask the question I asked last year and the year before. Normally, midway through the second term, the president and his number one opponent be doing debates and all kind of shit. Y'all ain't seen no presidential debate. Y'all haven't heard a rumor that they gonna have a presidential debate. What's going on with your presidency? These criminals are being rounded up. Look, somebody sent me a picture, a video. The video had the bodies that was being rolled off of the plane. And nobody didn't know what that was. That's them people that been being executed in Guantanamo Bay, being brought back stateside. Some of them gonna have funeral services, but a lot of them not. Many of them just gonna be burn that motherfucker up, throw his ashes out to sea. Peace, deuces to you, fuck you in your motherfucking horse you rode in on, you rotten motherfuckers. So they showing us the receipt, but they not always telling us what the receipt is. So the order to arrest Noriega is the equivalent to that order. This is the what you call the comparative analysis, or the paradoxical view. The president, vice president are ordering the military to capture him, and he's held up refuge with asylum by the Catholic Church. It's the same as your co-defendant in a criminal case in federal court. Send the sheriff department to go arrest you over in Canada to make sure you get prosecuted for the crime y'all did together. The crime that you was goaded into by the same motherfuckers that's coming to get you. And there's a legal term called entrapment. And this is what that is. It's entrapment when the government manufacture a whole criminal enterprise just to lure you in and charge you with a criminal act. This is how they ran COINTELPRO, to get people like Larry Hoover, to get people like Angel Bay, to get all of the chiefs off the land, to wrongfully convict people that they know they wrongfully convicting before they ever arrested them. They knew they didn't have a just cause, but remember, we at war. They know it, we don't. They never told us outright that they was attacking us the way they were. But they was performing every activity of a warring agency upon the people that you could believe. Look, y'all might not believe what I'm about to tell y'all. Y'all might not believe this crap, this shit here. This is some real shit. Criminal Bureau of Justice statistics. Police shoot more pale faces than they do us. Why all our shit turn into rebellious celebrations of idiots? Where you bring in your Reverend Al Sharptons and Jesse Jacksons to tell us to be calm, and they killing more of the other color than they is of us. Why we got to be sensationalized as the permanent victim every time something happens? They got to make us be the victims that don't have the self-control to throw these motherfuckers in jail. Only they got the self-control. They got to stir our emotions up with malice green. They got to get us to riot with Rodney King. Right? But they don't tell you about all of those teenage pink kids they be shooting. And that's why them motherfuckers are shooting up the schools. They getting the same treatment from the government, but they not being sensationalized, so they feel like they struggle not even being considered. And all the time they using the media to sensationalize the stuff that happened to us to make it look like that we the ones that they really doing the most dirt to, when they doing their dirt to us, but they doing it in a different way than we think. They tricking us to stay divided and conquered. They telling them boys in the hood, don't talk to them boys on the bikes with the tattoos. The boys in the hood got tattoos, and they telling the boys in the hood, don't talk to them boys on them bikes with the tattoos. Why I can't talk to them? They might understand me if we have a conversation, but as long as I listening to y'all tell me don't talk to them, we not gonna never know if we really don't like each other or not. Or if somebody told us we don't like each other and we fell for the banana in the tailpipe. These same people created the Jewish Defense League and the Anti-Defamation League. Very few of y'all know that the Jewish Defense League was created to be a paramilitary opponent for the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Because they started using the Jewish Defense League as an extortion agency and as a homicide hit squad. They used the Anti-Defamation League as a public relations watchdog group. And this is why they passing laws where you can't say nothing about these people, or else you considered anti-Semitic, and then they can bring the lawman to your front door. Right? We all know genetically that the black woman got every nation in her genetics. We know this. That don't say except for the European, the pale-skinned European. It don't say they excluded from the genome of the sisters. They not excluded. We know personally sisters and brothers that we absolutely know not Caucasian, not pale-skinned European, in some of our families that damn near look like they could pass. If we didn't know who their mama and daddy was, most of the time we'd think they was adopted. Especially when you get to what they call two of them bright folks together and they make one of them light bright babies. Y'all don't know about that in the South? I know y'all know about that in the South. And then, where all of the niggas that was passing, where they go? What happened to them? They just disappeared? Remember, they was passing. So they somewhere. And they trying to tell us our DNA can tell them we from Africa, but it can't tell them that this nigga passing. It's more likely your genetics can tell you you're not a pale European than it is can tell you that we from Africa. We not supposed to have no what you call analytical capabilities. We ain't supposed to break this shit down into smaller bites and study each piece. When we start doing that, now they start sending their little low-level, illiterate minions that jumped on the bandwagon of Johnny come lately $2.50 Indians because they missed the $5 boat. So now they only half of them motherfuckers. $2.50 ass niggas. They got, look, Cherokee is the catch term. This is why there's so many different looking people under the banner of Cherokee. It's a catch term like more. The Anahuaya original tribe is the parent tribe of the collective under the catch term Cherokee. And all of this goes back to the reclassification, cataloging us like animals. And because they told the lie so good, and they got people that look like us perpetuating the lie, we started to believe that the lie was true when they told us out the gate. History is written by the victors and history is a lie agreed upon. And they don't never tell us who is these victors that's writing this history and what is this lie they agreeing upon and why is they agreeing upon this lie instead of the other lie. Because I know they got more than one, because Winston Churchill said that the truth is so valuable it must be carefully guarded by a ring of lies. So tell me, which one of the lies in the ring need to be exposed first in order for you to figure out that all of this stuff is a made-up construct just for them to undermine who you are and disassociate you from your tribal birthright, from your organic aboriginal right as a caretaker of the land to assume your jurisdictional supremacy as the sovereign body of the planet when you align with the collective mothers. Once you do that, your birthright activates. Once your birthright activates, now we can drag these suckers out in the open. This is a done deal. We ready now. We can tell you with the references everything they did. Even when they bring their own references, because when you playing with cheaters, you got to keep the rule book open. When you playing with cheaters, you got to keep the rule book open. And I'm glad rule number 1, turnabout, is fair play. If they use it on you, you can use it back on their ass. But you got to let them use it first. So now they mad because everything they use to conquer us, we used it as the means to conquer them. And then they got caught in their own trap. And they mad at us because we was the ones trapping them in the trap they was setting for us. My mama told these some bitches a long time ago, when you dig a ditch, dig two, motherfucker, because I'm not falling in that first one. I see it's there. Because if you put me in the ditch, your ass gonna be in the ditch next to me. You better believe that. We hillbillies, we warring. Bring war to the city. Ain't no thing. We was born on drive-bys, brought up to bang. This is how we move. Right? So they sit here and they want to know, what is the order of the round table? The order of the round table, Larry is the speaker. He is the chairman of the board. That means that Larry's responsibility as the chief on the land, whether he like it or he don't like it, Whether he want it or he don't want it, he is the most qualified to come out and to give the report to the people, because they don't got to report to this government. They got to report to the people. The people sanctions government. The report to the people must tell them about the conquest that we just got done making over our enemy, and that this was a drawn out, protracted struggle that required all of the tribes to perform in different capacities on the land in order to conquer the enemy. We was heavily infiltrated. We was overthrown, but we was overthrowing the overthrower that was overthrowing us when we was doing our judo on their ass. Just when they thought they had us flipped, we flipped their ass. This is just how the game played. It's not personal. This is checkmate, motherfuckers. Right? We did it with the music. We did it in the entertainment with the movies. They thought they was going to control the narrative, so we took the narrative they thought they was giving us and we slid in there Cicely Tyson to tell you that she was not no African, right? Her daddy was a full-blooded Iroquois, and she was an Iroquois high priestess. So while they thinking they making fun of us, we sliding messages in the movies in the ad lib that went so good that the director thought it fit so perfect with the script that was already written, he wouldn't cut it out. Until they didn't realize, until the people started acknowledging the tidbits of information that, oh shit, we shouldn't have left that in there. It's too late now. We bought the video, the DVD, the VHS, the Betamax. We got that shit. Now you can't take it back. We can go point it out to somebody to allow them to see the sister is trying to tell you what they don't want her to say. Tears of a Clown, Smokey Robinson, Hayoka High Priest, delivering the message. He said he ain't no African, but he proud to be black. Go pull it up. Listen to the poem. He telling you he ain't come from no Africa. But that don't mean we got a problem with people in Africa. We love African people. We love African culture. We just don't like people just downplaying our culture, trying to make us believe we from somebody else when we got our own culture to love and to flourish from, when we realize just when they thought that they was conquering us, we conquered them. As soon as we realize that, it's a done deal. They thought they had us. We sit here and reconstituted the government in the continuity of government program in everybody's face, and they was laughing at Rod Hayes the whole time. The whole time I'm putting Big Mama's kingdom back together so we can have heaven on earth again, and they calling me crazy. They saying that I don't know what I'm talking about and we all Moors, and I'm just being unduly harsh on the ones I call dirty Moors, and that, no, we tribes. We tribes. You can't find one map that got America as Morocco. You can't convince me of some shit that didn't exist. You can't. If we was all Moors, we wouldn't have been broke up into 5,000 tribes when the enemy came. Go get the book, 5,000 Tribes of North America. We ain't even got to the islands, Central and South America yet. That's just 5,000 North America tribes. Wait till we get done with the Mesoamerica going into South America and the islands and get done. We ain't even counted them people in the 5,000 tribes that we telling you was here. So if you was a Moor, you would have been one of the tribes, one of the many tribes, and you would have been designated to a specific part of the land. That's according to our culture, but according to European culture, we just gonna blanket all you motherfuckers together. We not Europeans and we not Africans. They culture can't dictate how we move as we move across our own land. Their government might have been in control for a while until we figured out that it was a whole fraud and dismantled it in everybody's face, while they thinking that we just being some social media chitter chatters, and all of the time we having whole governmental teams watching us at continuity of government in order to know what moves to make next. We already know what move need to be made next. The chiefs need to hit the streets. We need 3 kings walking. We need reports from the kings. And while that's going on, don't worry about what the matriarchy doing. The matriarchy is handling matriarchal business. Now it's time for the brothers, the fatherland, to step out in front and do what we supposed to do in order to be the cover story to protect the motherland. If we ain't ready to do that, then we might as well go sit back and surrender to the slave master. Ain't no sense of overthrowing the slave master to perpetuate slavery under a different name or a different skin color or a different geographical location. If you're going to overthrow slavery, abolish that shit unilaterally. If you're going to get rid of these rotten motherfuckers, get rid of all of their rotten behaviors, traits, and characteristics, any and everywhere you see it, or leave that shit alone and go on about your business and let these motherfuckers figure it out themselves. Them the only options we got. We don't got no whole lot of options. We don't have a whole lot of options. Put Big Mama doing what Big Mama do. Now it's time for us brothers to step out and do what the brothers supposed to do. All of this shit is coming into motherfucking fruition, whether you like it, don't like it, whether you understand it or don't understand it, whether you want it to or you don't want it to. It goes back to who it belonged to at the close of the age. It's just that simple. It don't go back to who I want it to go to or who you want it to go to. It go back to who it belonged to, the rightful owners. The owners, the originators, the first ones, the mothers, the ones who gave birth parthogenically until they decided to make our ass so that this part of it can be getting done by us while they go do their part. They needed a different type of physiology to carry out a different function. So now it's time for us brothers, hey, look, they done been put on notice across the land. Everything has been moved according to the tribal traditions in the public domain. In everybody's face, I have not been hiding, I ain't been running, and I ain't been ducking. This shit time-stamped and dated in an archivable format for posterity to go pull the record. And as they say about Jesus in church, they can say about Rod, didn't he do it? Didn't he do it? It's recorded. You can't undo it now. It's done. It's in the history books. It's part of the mirror of the past that's going to light the way to the future when you realize what just took place in your motherfucking face. With the receipts. Gorilla grip on that ass. On that post. You say I stuck my finger in the ground, turned the world around, plugged into the socket. So when you see stuff like the Noriega situation and you think that Noriega was wrong because the socially engineered media told you he was wrong, that don't mean he was wrong. Maurice Bishop ain't done nothing wrong for the CIA to put an assassination hit out on him. All that man wanted was for the people in his community to be able to live without outside forces interfering in their family business. And because he spoke up, they got scared that he might be the one to wake these niggas up over here. And the only reason I know it because they told it to him and he told it to us. They told Maurice Bishop to tone down his rhetoric before it influenced the Negroes in America to rise up against the American legal fiction. They called it their government. They don't belong here. Police don't belong here. And the sheriffs are supposed to be under the jurisdictional authority and command of Angel Bay, the law of the land. But we want to sit here and accuse each other and falsely accuse each other and confuse each other about the truth instead of telling people who belong where. I'm telling you who doing the work. That's how you know where they belong. Go back and see why they got Angel Bay locked up. Because he was behaving as a chief that had a specific function to fulfill for the people of the land, whether they with him or not. He still got to do his work. He still got to do his work. He still got to do what he got to do as one of the chiefs responsible for liberating us from this oppressive regime. Who gonna back the man up? We can't keep acting like cowards every time one of the leaders fall. We go along to get along with the motherfucking enemy in order to wipe our feet on his work. We did it with Malachi. We did it with H. Rap Brown. We did it with Mumia. We done it with Mutula. We did it with Larry. We did it with Jeff. We did it with Tukey. We done it with Geronimo Pratt. We done it with Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. We did it with Asada, left her stranded in Cuba. I know she want to come home and see her family. But no, we don't have the insight and the understanding to say this is her shit. Her castle is in New Jersey waiting for her people to tell that governor over there to write the goddamn pardon for the assassination attempt on her life that failed. But no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. It requires us to put some ink on paper or to make a phone call, and that's just too much in order to fight for somebody's freedom. We don't have that kind of time and energy. I got to watch Young and the Restless. I can't miss Judge Judine or whoever the fuck on there this week. I got to see the People's Court. But you can't say nothing about none of your people that stood up and fought for your liberation. You watched them fall and went on to the next person to watch them fall. And now you done been jumping leader to leader as part of the problem, offering nothing up as a solution. And if somebody offers a solution, you become the number one opponent. This is why Malachi's still locked up. That's exactly why Malachi's still locked up. Motherfuckers want to see him out, but the motherfucker next to him keep tripping them every time they take a step toward the direction of getting Malachi out. He been had the motherfucking release order since 2019. Come on, it's 2024. That's 5 years. He supposed to been home. Why he can't come home? Because can't nobody take that man home to get assassinated. Not the government don't want no parts of that shit. Because then they got to deal with some shit called the Galactic Council. I don't even talk about the motherfuckers. They ain't from here. I'm about the Earthborn. But because of what's going on, I got to periodically mention some motherfuckers from outer space. We got enough problems on the surface to deal with that we shouldn't even have to worry about no niggas from outer space. But now y'all keep fucking with Malachi. Y'all got to worry about some niggas from outer space, but these some super niggas. These ain't no regular, everyday, ordinary run-of-the-mill niggas. These are super niggas. I'm trying to tell y'all ahead of time, and y'all, this government, in their last little old breaths of life, need to do something in the public domain before Malachi called these super niggas. Them ain't got nothing to do with me. It don't got. I'm growth and development. I'm in a whole different tribe. But I'm telling you what I see coming. These niggas infiltrated his house, and he got a whole flock of super niggas. I can't figure out no other way. Black Adams. He got a whole army of Black Adams coming. He could have been called him. But somebody had to get him the opportunity to bump straight first. That shit just so happened to fall in my territory. I'm not fucking with them niggas. Them niggas is too. I can't move. I can't tolerate that. I can't sanction no shit like that. I can't tell the Empress to push for Malachi to go back to some rotten ass motherfucking traitor ass, turncoat, shoe shuffling ass motherfuckers. I can't in good conscience do that. Yeah, I want Malachi out. But I don't want to send that man home to that bullshit. He done did his work. He should be able to lay back on the beach and get fed some goddamn grapes while somebody massaging his feet in the sun in the Bahamas somewhere. Well, he shouldn't even have to write another book if he don't feel like it. But they keep fucking with him. All I can tell him is he got some Black Adam niggas. He don't got 2 or 3 of them motherfuckers either. It's a lot of them niggas. And they don't smile. They don't have a sense of humor. They got a sense of duty first. And until the duty fulfilled, you won't even know them motherfuckers know how to smile. You won't even know them motherfuckers know how to laugh or none of that until the job that the duty called for is complete. They serious. Keep playing with Malachi. All I could do is warn you. I'm firstborn of the earthborn. I'm not going nowhere. But it's a lot of niggas that gotta leave, and they got a whole bunch of Black Adam niggas to come get them. Stay out the way. Stay out the way. That's all I can tell you. And you think your motherfucking 38 something. They got some shit that'll make your 38 stop working before you even cock that bitch back. They got guns that shoot frequencies that paralyze your whole central nervous system. They not worried about your bullets, bro. Your bullets don't mean nothing. That's antique history to them. To them, that's the same as a fucking muzzle loader in today. Can you imagine you got a tech and here come this dude trying to fight you with a muzzle loader? They not playing. They serious. They not playing. Inky gonna turn them motherfuckers loose to come get him. And then ain't gonna be nothing nobody can do. America tried to make super soldiers, so they came out with a whole bunch of Captain Americas to supposed to be fighting these Black Adams. They produce all these steroid-induced Captain Americas to fight this Black Adam. And they think they're going to win. And it's a lot of them. And they all wearing some shiny-ass gold-looking shit. I don't know if it's brass, bronze, gold, whatever it is, it's shiny as shit. And he ain't the only one got a support team like that. He ain't the only one. It's just that he the one that was the loudest about him, so I got to talk about it. He was the loudest about what he called his star family. So now I got to address that shit, even though I don't want to address no extraterrestrial niggas. Because we got enough problem with Earth niggas that we need to be dealing with on Earth. But all good things come to an end. Right? They trying their shenanigans, but they not going to work. They going to expect your enemy to try to obstruct your progress. But expect your allies to have the eyes to see what they doing. Because everybody in this spiritual war is in the optimum position for the success we have already achieved. Now we have to play it out on the ground like a play or a movie script so the people can understand what's taking place. Simeon Toko told him, he said, y'all can't handle one of me. In the future, it's a whole bunch of me coming. Who you think he was talking about? He was talking about all them Black Adams that's under the fleet command of Marduk. We know him as Malachi Z. York. And they got some stuff. He gonna be just as healthy as he was when he was in his 20s as soon as they get here. And they've been sending these plasma ships, these cloak ships in all over the country. People have been posting the videos talking about what's this. They don't know what it is. And the only reason I know what it is, because Malachi already told us in the Holy Tablets what it is that we gonna see when we be looking at it. And he described it, and now I'm looking at it, and I'm telling you, they here. They here. Yeah, all my support team Earthborn. I got Big Tookie and Angel Bay and Larry Hoover, you know, but I can call on some underworld motherfuckers, but it's not necessary. They come out like the Day of the Dead with the war paint on. They come out of the shadows looking like an 8-foot tall wolf because they wearing a wolf pelt of an ancient wolf that used to be big as hell. They gonna be coming out of the woods and people gonna think they seeing a bear, but it's a man with a bear suit on. Why you think they call them skinwalkers? I don't have to call on nobody. All I gotta do is let them keep picking on Malachi. That's all I gotta do, and stay out of it. Let them keep picking on him, and then just stay out of it. And I won't have to call on nobody. He'll clean it up. This is not what people think it is. People think that this 3D shit is more real than the spiritual shit. When the 3D shit is all of the spiritual beings decide to follow a set of rules. One, you cannot come into earth in your mythic form during this chapter. Everybody got to come in the form of a human. All of the magicians know this, but the non-magicians don't. So when you look at a person that was a dwarf or a gnome or an ogre, they just look like funny looking people. But if you look a little bit closer, you be like, dang, that motherfucker look like Shrek. Right? You have to be able to see, but you can't see because your mind is blinded by the bullshit they taught us that was designed to blind the mind. And we can't take it personal that we got deceived. But the fact that you find out that you got deceived gives you an vaccination and inoculation to that very same deception. That's why I keep explaining how this shit works. Once you understand how it works, it can't work on you unless you force it to. Your natural spiritual defenses begin to put resistance up to the BS. And this is going to facilitate your awakening. I'm just following instructions. But I'm telling you now, they done rounded a whole bunch of people up. In 2020, we was at about 8.4 billion people. Believe me, it might be about 3.7 billion people on Earth right now. But they don't want to tell y'all the sheer number of people that was just walking down the street and they just turned off. I told people 4 years ago, I said, y'all gonna know if they reported it in the news, because people just gonna be walking down the street and drop dead for no reason. Then all of a sudden they came out with some stuff a couple years after I said that called sudden adult death syndrome. And they call it SADS for a nickname. Just like sudden infant death syndrome is called SIDS. I'm not no prophet. I'm not prophesying. I'm reading a script that would, to an average person, is like reading the streamers in the Matrix. But once you've been a coder and you've been coding computers, that's nothing for you to read it at a rapid pace like that. Because that's how you program computers and you're a programmer. But a non-programmer looking at the streamer in the Matrix needs a translator. So I'm translating the shit that I'm seeing, and for the people that don't know what I'm doing, it might give the appearance as if I'm rendering a prophecy when I'm not rendering a prophecy. I'm just reading the script that they wrote and showing you what they saying so you can see the anomalies in the fallacies that they putting in front of us, which breaks you free from the bullshit. I don't know who rounded them up. I know a lot of people went through Stargates that's not here. They were not allowed to kill them on Earth because they would have reincarnated on Earth. So there's a lot of people, especially a lot of those that was part of that Swiss royal family that lived in them underground bunkers. See, when I was telling people that 4 years ago, they didn't believe me. But now they didn't already released, once they didn't cleared the people out, now they releasing the information on the bunkers in Switzerland. And they had more underground bunkers shit than they had cities above ground. It was whole bustling cities underground. That's where your world leaders, your Amun priesthood, was hiding the whole time that this American warfare has been waging. This is a 500-year protracted struggle. Homeland Security ain't never stopped defending the home. It's just that the people who were supposed to be helping them fell asleep because they got tired of watching the war go on. They'd rather go take a nap. Let me see what time it is. 12:38. Yeah. So we're an hour and a half in. I'm not doing the Q&A. I need to talk to the Empress about some news I got right before I started the live. But look, this shit over with. All of these, pay attention to the solar rays. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you like this. Watch Kalai. He gonna tell you he gonna keep you up to date on Schumann resonance, and he gonna keep you on to date on the UVB rays. In some areas, he a little extremist for some, but don't disregard everything but what he telling you about the solar rays and the Schumann resonance, the UVB rays, and pay attention, right? Don't let his sometime aggressive disposition make you miss what he's telling you, because he's telling you valuable information, right? Because you getting source codes that's upgrading your DNA, right? When we went through the Muhurta, those source codes came from the Great Mother that directly corresponded to the mitochondrial frequency of the women. Then they sent out signals from Earth in the Schumann resonance that went as a magnetic radiant field to the sun. The sun, in return, responded with what's called solar flares and solar storms in order to feed the radioactive particles the genetic upgrade data from the sun in order to upgrade the next generation. So we gonna go from living 65 years to more like 350 to 1,000 years. With good health, we not gonna suffer from aging in our 50s and 60s. We not gonna experience biological aging until we several hundred years old. And the rate of aging will be drastically reduced because they maimed us when they altered the telomeres on the genes. And they gave us something called the human aging hormone. Go check out Cynthia Keenan from the University of California, Berkeley, and her research into the aging process. She's a gerontologist, right? They also look up the telomere extension technology that's been developed once the scientists discovered that somebody altered our DNA by reducing the length of the telomeres on the genes, which causes our ages to accelerate, right? All this is available information. Look at epigenetics, because in epigenetics, it's going to tell you wherever you at, you broadcasting from another location, and the broadcast receiver is your biological entity called a Earth rover, a Earth meat rover, a meat suit. And you'll understand how the frequencies translate into information in the DNA that animates your reality, right? And it's important to break free from all of the defense hatreds. Now, the defense hatreds is you developed a hate along a certain line to defend yourself against a so-called white supremacist or a Republican or a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, whatever. You developed a defense mechanism of hatred to defend you from the onslaught of their hatred. But you don't think you're affected by it because you find yourself in the position of right according to how you interpreted the problem. So once you discovered you was in the position of right, it justifies you to hold on to the hatred that's blocking your ascension. But you have no clue that you holding on to the hatred because you don't have a clue that it's a response to the hate that you gave. Somebody gave you hate and you had to turn it around, alchemicalize it, and turn it into defensive hate so that it doesn't diminish your self-esteem. But now it's time for you to let go of all of the hates and embrace infinite wisdom by incarnating divine love frequency, right? This is what the activating of the matriarchy side effect is. When the women start turning on this unconditional love field, they start speaking life into their man instead of having to tell a motherfucker some shit. Instead of always having to tell a motherfucker some shit. Some of the people you got to tell some shit, you speaking aggressively tearing them down when they might need your words of wisdom and a little bit of compassion in order to straighten up their reality. But we always got to tell a motherfucker some shit. I can't let a motherfucker get away unless I tell him. You don't got to tell a motherfucker shit. Get out of that psychological damaging bullshit that you obligated to bitch check a motherfucker because they saying some stuff or they did some stuff. If you ain't ready to go to all the way to the extreme, let that shit go. Because you don't know the person that you got to tell something to might be in the right mood to be prepared to go to the worst of extremes if a motherfucker tell them something on this day. Yesterday, nope. Tomorrow, nope. But today, yep. Stop trying to always get the last word. That means you insecure. If you always got to get the last word, you have insecurities in yourself where you feel like motherfuckers can't hear you. Stop giving a fuck if motherfuckers hear you. Stop caring so much if people think you crazy or different or whatever. Because all they doing is using your emotions to manipulate you into a self-defeating psychological profile that only end up becoming a problem to you in the end. You do not have to tell a motherfucker a thing. You don't have to be disrespectful and curse everybody out. You don't always got to have the last word. Right? Sometimes it's better to take a deep breath and say, that ain't even worth my time. I'm not finna let that shit upset my peace. Because when you can stand there in your peace, the motherfuckers that's trying to upset you falls into their own misery when it don't work. You staying peaceful in the midst of hostilities will make a motherfucker dive off of a 40 story building in frustration rather than deal with you not giving a fuck. And that's just the way it is. We don't always need to tell a motherfucker nothing. Go back to The Godfather. Vito Corleone told Sonny Corleone, never tell a man what you're thinking. Why would he tell him that? Because when people know what you're thinking, they know how to put obstacles in your path. They know how to interfere with your progress. They know how to tear your shit down before you even get builded up. Stop telling all your business. Don't tell strangers your personal life when you first meet them. They might not even be the type of people that you want knowing about your life, but you done told them all your shit before you realize, I wish I wouldn't have told that motherfucker nothing. You would rather say, I wish I have a chance in the future to tell them something than to be regretting telling them something before you got to know them. You know. It's all part of a war front to keep us in them low vibrating energies. We watching our government commit criminal activity and prosecute the ones that was born to change our condition using attrition, meaning gradually changing the part they could. And when they all got done changing, we'll all be changed into our own culture again. But rather than do that, now we need the shock and awe, artificially manufactured savior bullshit, Barack Obama, first black president drama, in order to make us feel like we worth being here. And he didn't care two shits about us. He one of them look like us but ain't us ass niggas. Because he ain't did nothing for us. Anybody that you look up to as a celebrity, all you have to do to determine if they with us or against us is try to find out what did they do in the neighborhood they from. If these people got on and got millions of dollars and moved out there to some big old overpriced building and disregarded the whole community that reared them and helped them to develop their talent and skill set, and they don't do nothing to reach back to assist anybody in the community, they ain't none of us. They not none of us. Look, before the settlers came, we was the type, we would go all the way across the country and send resources we had accumulated back so that the family can utilize it to help the most people in the family. Now what we do, we move to the other side of the country and keep it all to ourselves. That's not our behavior. That's not our people. We that's not natural to us. Look, go watch them young cats hang out on the block, and when I came up, we was drinking 40s. When we was drinking 40s, I live in Pontiac. If I would have went to Detroit and to a park and be like, who want a 40? With a box of 40s, they would have all been cool. Come on, that's what we do. This is how we meet each other. This is how we get to know each other. We do stuff to bring us together so we can get to learn each other, learn how to best communicate across different cultural barriers, and we start with the ones that's in the other side of town, the family down the street, right? The ones that live in the house behind us. I ain't never talked to them. I think I'm going to go around there today and see if the old man want a beer. Right? Oh, son, I don't drink beer, but you can go grab me a scotch. Now you just got to know somebody in your neighborhood that you didn't know 20 minutes earlier because you asked him, did he want to have a beer? This is what they used to call Southern hospitality. But this used to be all over the land because everybody all over the land come from the Southern hospitality of the old Mississippians. That's the root stock. And everybody developed different practices that define their tribal differences. And we never held it against each other till the settlers came and told us that if the Apaches want to keep putting patches on their denim, right, and the Mohawk want to keep cutting around the sides of their head instead of cutting that shit out the middle, right, then y'all can't work together. And we fell for it. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm going to keep telling y'all the truth. I'm standing in the position of right, exercising my birthright, because we done already did that. Now it's just a matter of when do the military-industrial complex, which is now Raven Rock Continuity of Government Complex, when will they roll out the Gitmo files, the Pizzagate files, the what's the other one? Frazzle Drip files, the Hunter Biden files, the Little Lolita files. They did all of this stuff. Half of this stuff is already out there. And some, like for instance, I got the contents of Hunter Biden laptop, and that shit horrible. He got a whole bunch of pictures with hookers and shit off. He got more freaky shit than dope shit in there. And they made more fun of him for the dope than they did the freaky shit. That boy was twisted in his sexuality. They even got pictures of Obama oldest girl butt naked with him. I'm just saying. I don't know if it's true, but the political rumors in D.C. say old Joe was stroking her too. And she was underage, and Barack and Big Mike knew about it. All them people, I told you, they'll sell their kids and they'll sell their mama And they'll buy some kids to act like they kids in order to make you think they had some kids. They've been using technology that they never told us they have to facilitate the deception. Right? These people sick. This why it's so hard on the people that want to help, because they try to project their sickness onto you as if you the same sick as them, and you ain't nothing like them people. And then we got the bandwagon gossip committee that as soon as some negative shit come on, it don't have to be true. They gonna jingle bells that negative shit all across the land like it's the hardcore facts. Right? They accuse a motherfucker of something. They accuse me of some shit. Ain't no police came knocking on my door to ask me no questions, though, to find out if it's any validity to the allegations. Ain't no special crime victim unit been here asking me anything. Because motherfuckers know bullshit when they hear it. See, they could come on social media and drag a motherfucker, right? But they can't make up them false stories all the time. If the police ain't in on it, they gonna see right through that bullshit. They gonna see through it every time. Because you don't just accuse people of shit because you can accuse them. And this, like I was telling my brother, the worst rape case is a buyer's regret rape case, where the chick, like Mike Tyson, the girl get mad because he don't walk her to her car and send her roses in the morning, so she want to cry rape after the fact that she done came to this man on the booty call hour, that every woman in America know that a hotel at 2 a.m. is booty call time. Every woman in America know that. 2 a.m. at a hotel with a guy you don't barely know is booty call hour. Every one of the sisters know that. The white girls know it. The salsa chicks know it, right? The Rasta chicks know it. And all of the women in America know that if they get up and leave their own room, home or hotel, go to a man room by themselves at 2 o'clock in the morning with alcohol, somebody planning on having sex. Every woman know that. Right? Now, there is no defense for that kind of bullshit. Because the allegation is the only evidence. Now it's her word against his word, and he can't say nothing because he don't know what the fuck she talking about. Well, where'd she get this shit from? Same thing with Tupac. The chick said Tupac didn't rape her, but he left her in the room with the dudes that did rape her and went to sleep on the couch in the living room. And because of that, he was guilty of rape. That's retarded. That's retarded. Why did you stay your grown ass in the room with them niggas you already knew when Pac barely knew any of you motherfuckers? But don't nobody want to ask that question. Because now they saying you being harsh on the victim and you blaming the victim, but you ain't nobody asking no real questions. Because when you start asking real questions, that whole case come out to be an exposure as a fraud. It was a setup from the word go. Now, 23, 24, 25 years later, all of the shit then came out that Jimmy Hinchman was behind it. He paid the motherfuckers to rob Tupac at Quad Studios. He told them to discipline him and take his shit for being a smart ass on the phone because he wanted him to record on the Little Shine video a Lil Sean video, and Pac was trying to avoid them niggas because Biggie told him, stay away from them niggas. Them niggas don't mean you no good. Pac trying to find out from Big before he started dealing with these suckers, why are you telling me this, Big? But Big don't never get a chance to tell him, because the next time he see Pac, this nigga's coming up the elevator bleeding and shot. Yeah, but we know how to, we intelligent people, and we can see. Stevie Wonder can see better than 98% of these goofballs. You don't believe me? The lady was showing them something on her cell phone. And I know you can teach kids to read blindfolded, so why not teach a blind man to see? Right? Because whatever agency of vision that the blindfolded children is using to read and tell you colors and do math problems with their eyes covered, then I'm pretty sure that you can use the same method to teach somebody with no eyes to activate their visual cortex and see through their third eye transmitter. I'm just saying, we so behind in the basic analysis of things. Like, America put Saddam Hussein in power and then turned on him to sell Iran small munitions to fight against America's #1 ally in the region. That's betrayal. And there is no other name for it but betrayal. So now they mad at Saddam and they try to make amends. What they do? They gave him sarin nerve gas, botulinum toxin, and VX nerve gas, along with other military munitions as a compensation for giving Iran the small arms to fight the Iraqi military. Guess how all of it blow up? The Iraqis have a battle with the Iranians. Now keep in mind, all this is going on first term Reagan administration. They find out when they blow up a whole bunch of Iranian soldiers and find out they all got M16 American-made grenade launchers and American-made surface-to-air missiles and rocket launchers and other small munitions. So Saddam picked the phone up and he called over here like, hey, what y'all doing, man? How y'all gonna be giving these motherfuckers shit to fight me and I'm your homeboy? And then, oh no, we'll make it up to you. They give them all them gases, and then they use that as the justification to go run up in this country in the first Gulf War. In the second Gulf War. Yeah, they knew he had weapons of mass destruction because they gave them to him. The problem is they don't know where he did with them. Yes, they do. Because the CIA report said that all of the remaining munitions, or what they call chemical weapons, was given to King Hassan of Syria. And they said he's worse than Saddam Hussein, because if we try to go get him out of Syria, he'll dump all that shit on Israel. And he will. And he is worse than Saddam. But he been right the whole time. That's the difference. See, Saddam came in wrong. But Hassan did everything right. But we ain't supposed to be aware of Middle Eastern politics proper. We only supposed to fall for the rhetorical dogma they give us on the 6 o'clock news. Like some of us don't know how to get information from people from the region that's not going to tell you the same lies that the government telling you, and that's why they don't want them over here. They don't want them befriending the people of the land that government is a fake government attacking their people, because then we gonna find out that we the ones that's being deceived the most, because these people pretending to be our government don't got nothing to do with the majority of the people on the land. We was fighting all of these marching and shit, civil rights, fighting to be part of something that didn't have nothing to do with us. The U.S. corporation never had anything to do with anybody other than the settlers that came as the 13 colonies. Anybody else incorporated under that was forced in it by deception, trickery, and deceit. And that make up about 98% of the rest of the country. We was all lied to, defrauded into believing that this corporation established in Paris under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is our government, but ain't nan one of them tribal leaders' name on that treaty. Not one. You don't see Little River running. You don't see Chief Standing Bear. You don't see Chief Blue Hawk, Chief Black Hawk. You don't see none of that on that document because it didn't have nothing to do with us. But as long as we allowed them to dress in their uniforms under their uniform commercial system, they was able to appear to be more legitimate than the ones who's casually on the land, from the land, who's supposed to be taking care of the land. Go read David Walker's Appeal. You will understand what I'm talking about. So I needed to talk about Noriega and how the government use crime. They create the government is an ongoing criminal enterprise that was financed, chartered, and sanctioned by the Crown of England and the Vatican, the Crown of Spain, the Crown of France, and a few more lesser kingdoms of Europe. Had nothing to do with the tribes of the land, had nothing to do with the people. They convinced us to fight wars based on skin on the land, and at the same time adopted us from both skin tones to go and fight their wars overseas. Now we allowed to go overseas and kill together, but we only allowed to kill each other over here. Make that shit make sense. I'm only gonna be your friend in Vietnam when we get back to America. We bloody enemies again. Now, I'm not finna go to war with nobody I gotta feel like that about. I'm not finna do it. You go fight that war without me. I don't need to go over there. If we gonna go over there and kill up a whole bunch of people and come back over here and be enemy, I'm leaving your ass over there with all them people we killed. And you can be in a similarly situated conditions as the ones we came to get rid of. Because if I gotta come back home and fight the motherfucker who I had to fight next to overseas, then I'm not going home. One, because at home you don't fight, you don't sleep with the enemy. You don't stand shoulder to shoulder and fight with the enemy at home. So you got to be going into a foreign territory, but you from here. So something ain't right with the politics of the land where you under the false pretense of being in the foreign territory by standing side to side with somebody that swore to be your enemy. You didn't swear to be theirs. They swore to be yours. You got to remember it's a difference in the two. We never swore to be anybody's enemy. And these motherfuckers swore to be our enemy unto their death. Well, it's time to behead them. Because we not finna keep them. We never swore to be their enemy. They swore to be ours. Turnabout fair play. Right? So, you can take that shit to the bank. That shit good as gold. Because the truth is golden. Wise words is platinum. Watch out now. Don't get me talking jive talk. But this is 109, 11. Yeah, that's 2 hours in. So we're going to wrap it up here. And I'm going to have to try to call the Empress if it ain't too late. It might be too late. But I'm going to talk to y'all later. If I get any updates, I'm going to be back. If I get the messages to do another analysis of the system that we overthrowing so people can understand why we have to overthrow this system, then I'll do that. Because today we talking about the legal system where one criminal can prosecute you as if they wasn't your co-defendant. As in America prosecuting Manuel Noriega. He ain't the only one they done it to. You gotta remember, America also was the ones behind Pablo Escobar. He was originally an asset for the DEA, right? And then you got to remember that the vacuum left created El Chapo. See, El Chapo didn't know that this government was more like a mafia than the government of the people. They had nothing to do with the people. So all the time he trying not to violate the people because he don't know that the government is separate from the people and they don't even have the same interests. All the people want is to go back to the matriarchy and the great law. All the government want is to systematically extort us until we discover the extortion, then they want us dead. And as I say, my heartbeat telling me I might be still alive. This pain in my side mean that life is implied, but this fight deep inside say continue to rise, continue to struggle, continue to fight and rage against this beast that only want to see me die. And that's my heartbeat. Right? So, we gonna sign out here. Peace and love to the good families out there. Hopefully I offered something that can help y'all to see through the illusion a little bit faster, because we about to come into shock and awe coming up real soon. And that's when all of the ones who was saying we ain't know what we was talking about get bombarded with truth bombs at every turn, to the point where they fall back and say, what the fuck, them conspiracy people was right. As I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just a fact dropper with receipts. And you can put me in the conspiracy theorist theory category all you want to. Everything that I'm telling you, I can go show you where I got it from. Everybody can't do that. So peace and love, family. Vibe on that frequency and overcome that fear.